Does sparring matter? Does it not matter? Let's get into it, guys. Apparently, Shakur Stevenson had his tooth broken. This is a rumor, so don't take too much away from it. But Gervonta Davis's coach, Kenny Ellis, talked about on a live stream with Shakur Stevenson how they sparred, and then Shakur Stevenson had to leave because he had something wrong with his tooth. And Shakur Stevenson said that's cap. Calling out Gervonta Davis's coach. You know, what's true, what's not? Do we take sparring seriously now? Because we're so used to hearing boxers and fighters say, what happens in the gym stays in the gym. Then you have guys like Kenny Ellis, Gervonta Davis's coach, go on social media with Shakur and then bring this to, you know, center stage, bring attention to this. So does it matter or does it not? You know, it's sparring at the end of the day. For me, this stuff doesn't matter. It's just more so, you know, a narrative to make the fight more, you know, promotable so that people can get excited for it. They can say that there's a storyline to it, that they've sparred before. Because if you guys know, when Shakur Stevenson was younger, obviously he sparred with Gervonta and at the same time, you know, helped him with training camp. So I feel like, you know, at the end of the day, these guys have a lot of respect for each other. They just can't admit it right now because, like Tank always says, or Tank's motto in the last 3-4 years has more so been, you know, there's no friends in this industry. Like no matter what happened, no matter what conversations we have, if we're gonna end up fighting, then that's what it is. You know, there's no room for us to be buddy, none of that stuff, because Tank, he's a mean dude when it comes to, you know, the sport, because he understands it's like, you know, he's trying to take food off my kid's plate, stuff like that, and I'm trying to do the same to him. So it's just, you know, a kill or be killed sport. That's the way boxing is. You know, people like to break down the sweet science and stuff like that. Even I like to do that. At the end of the day, I really do like boxing as an art form as well. But at the end of the day, it's up for interpretation. If people want to see knockouts, they want to see knockouts. If they want to see the brutality, then hey, so be it. This is boxing. This isn't like any other sport out there. You know, this is a combat sport where people, you know, hurt each other with intent. So that's the way it is. But I think that, you know, in terms of the sparring rumors, this and that, I've heard a lot of accounts of what happened with Shakur Stevenson and Tank Davis, and then now we're hearing more and more new details about it. But it doesn't really matter to me, because at the end of the day, if they're saying that Shakur got hurt by Gervonta Davis, it's going to be a different fight when it comes to, you know, them actually going at it, whether it's at 35 or whether it gets carried up to 140. Shakur obviously being a free agent right now, so that's very up in the air. We don't know when we're going to see him next, honestly. And then after that, you know, his next fight, you know, he makes a debut with his new promotion, or maybe re-signs with Top Rank. We don't know what's going to happen in terms of, you know, his journey there, who he continues to fight, what fights he can actually get with his new promotion company. So what's realistic, what's not, if he could even get the Tank fight, or if he'd have to wait till he eventually moves to 140 and Tank moves to 140 as well, and they make a big fight at junior welterweight. So I like the fight between Shakur Stevenson and Tank. I don't really take too much away from the sparring. You know, the stories are always that it was good work, that Shakur Stevenson was very technical, and then, you know, Tank obviously could crack, you know, picking his moments, landing his shots, and then Shakur landing shots of his own. So in return, you know, Shakur wasn't unarmed in this war of sparring. You know, the multiple times that they sparred, countless number of times that they sparred. So I wish I could, you know, sit here and say that, you know, sparring means this, sparring means that, but honestly, it's a different thing when negotiations get involved, and then psychologically you come in as the underdog, another guy's the favorite, and at the end of the day, you know, Shakur's never fought on a Gervonta Davis, you know, card, let alone, you know, being the main event. Fighting Tank Davis is a completely different story when the crowd is all there to see you get knocked out, and you kind of have to take their money away and say, I'm going to win this fight by any means necessary. Shakur Stevenson has already been very clear and outspoken about the fact that he doesn't plan to exchange with Gervonta Davis. He plans to make it a boxing match and be very smart, because he knows that, you know, getting in an exchange would be a waste of his talent. It would be like having your greatest weapon and not using it if you were to exchange with a guy like Tank Davis. You know, with guys like Artem Harnatunian, strong fighters, durable fighters as well. That's why I always said that, you know, he should have done a little bit more, should have stepped on the gas a little more, taken more risks, because he's not going to be able to do it against Tank. So maybe make that fight interesting with Artem, where, you know, you're in front of your hometown, make it an exciting fight. That's why I think Shakur Stevenson's getting a lot of, you know, backlash from the media, backlash from fans, even people from his own hometown were leaving, because, you know, obviously they knew that Shakur was going to win, but they knew that nothing was going to happen towards the end of the fight that would kind of alter the outcome of the fight, because Shakur kind of had it on autopilot at that point. So Shakur's like, he's just one of those fighters that is very talented, but at the same time, it's not very likely that he's going to get a knockout. Who was his last stoppage fight? I think it was Yoshino, and then before that was Jamel Herring. So he stopped guys that, weren't really on his level, and guys that, and another fighter that was on his way out, so you could say. So Shakur, obviously not that power puncher that Tank is, but he's been open about that. Like Shakur always says, they have different talent. They were blessed with different abilities. Shakur has the ability where he can see punches coming a mile away and get out of the way. That's his talent. And then, Tank's is more offensive, where he has the power to crack you. And then, like Shakur said, 9 times out of 10, you're going to go to sleep. You're going to go down. And that's, usually how the fights end for Tank Davis. So, someone in my comments asked me, who do I think has more IQ, Shakur or Tank? And to that, I have to say it's different. They're different forms of IQ, so you can't really measure it, because if Shakur's IQ was offensive, then you can measure it to Tank's, because Tank's IQ was offensive. But the truth of the matter is that Shakur has a very defensively minded style of fighting. When he goes into that fight, he's thinking hit and not get hit. For Tank, it's like, get him by any means necessary. If I got to make it an ugly fight, I'm going to make it an ugly fight. If I got to press the action, I'm going to press the action. So Shakur is more so like, okay, I can beat you, but let's see what you do first. That's Shakur's mentality, where Tank is like, I'll look at you a little bit, but no matter what, I'm going to go at you regardless. So they both kind of have similarities when it comes to, understanding and trying to gain a sense of what their opponent is trying to do, but they're different in their approach to winning the fight, because Tank is saying, he's looking for that opening. He's looking for his opponent to step off the gas for a little moment, and then in that quick split second, that's when he's going to attack. When Shakur fights, it's more so, I'm going to get these counter shots off you. Maybe they don't have a lot of power, but they're going to stop you in your tracks. There's a difference. There's a difference, but not to say that these guys aren't, competitive when they're getting in the ring with each other, that it's going to be a one-sided fight. No, they just have different ways of operating, and I think that's what makes the fight very intriguing. That's what makes it like a 50-50 fight, basically, because Shakur Stevenson looks like the very defensive fighter, and then you have a guy like Tank who's the very offensive fighter. Because, that was why Manny Pacquiao and Floyd was such a highly anticipated fight. Like, the fans had to see it, because it was like two polar opposite, not only characters, but styles of fights as well. Because Manny was so offensive, the most exciting offensive fighter that I've gotten to watch, with my own eyes. And then on the flip side, Floyd being that very intelligent defensive fighter, hit and not get hit, but still letting his hands go. I can't compare Shakur to Floyd right now, because Floyd has shown me more, offensive ability, to level out that defensive ability. But yeah, you had Manny, the best offensive fighter, and then Floyd, the best defensive fighter, and a great counter puncher as well, who had the ability to pop shot, move around the ring, and frustrate his opponent. So, winning by any means necessary. So that's why it's kind of an interesting fight that we need to see. Not that, I ever thought that Manny was really going to beat Floyd, because if I always looked at it stylistically, and I was a Manny fan, but I always looked at it, I was always saying the counter puncher against a guy like Manny's going to have a hard time. In their primes, it could be a different fight. Maybe it's a more exciting fight for sure, but at the end of the day, I would pick Floyd to beat Manny, and that's out of, the utmost respect that I have for Manny Pacquiao. But when it comes to Shakur and Tank, it's a little bit different, because stylistically, Shakur Stevenson isn't as active on the offensive end as he is, defensively. He's very alert on defense, but, on offense, the output, at least in his most recent performance, wasn't something that, shows you that in a Tank fight, if he's not throwing a lot of punches against a guy like Artem, is he going to throw a lot against a guy like Tank, who's more dangerous, between shots, and Tank has the ability to exploit him, open him up, and then set him up for a big counter shot? Hard for me to believe. So that's a big reason why I'm, in the direction of, picking Tank Davis, because the power is different, and as good as Shakur's defense is, I think it's actually his offense that he's going to have to fight. He's going to have to show some offense to win the fight. You can't just be slipping all of Tank's shots. It's not just like playing tag, because he has to get his shots off as well on Tank. And in the process, how is he going to do it in a way that, is careful? He's precise, but he's going to have to be more active, way more active than he's been in his last fights, you know, with the jab when it comes to letting his hands go as well. But let me know in the comments what you guys think about this rumored sparring of, you know, Floyd Mayweather type doghouse sparring where, you know, Gervonta Davis and Shakur, you know, sparred, and then apparently Gervonta hurt, you know, Shakur Stevenson to the point where he had to leave and then, you know, get some dental work done. I don't know how true that is, but let me know in the comments what you guys think. Thank you guys for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll catch you guys on the next video. Peace.
That's going to do it for another NASFight Media video, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. It's been your boy, Matt Nabong, with another video. Hope you guys enjoyed it all. Thank you guys for the constant support. Salute to y'all always. It's been your boy.